Hey everyone, and welcome to this live stream tournament review. I'm Stephen.
I'm Mike.
And we're going to be going over how we got on at the Leicester Super Major.
Yeah, Super Major.
Just big old tournament at the weekend. I was running a particular type of Azarani or Craftworld list that I'm going to be covering. And Michael, you ran...
I ran some fancy nids.
Some Hydranids?
Hydranids, yeah, with a lot of units you probably don't see in competitive lists.
Nice. I certainly ran a few of those too.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to be talking about on the show why we took the lists that we did. We're going to be going over the lists in general as a brief overview. We've also got some members content for basically a much more in-depth look at the playstyle of the army, how it functions, secondaries, the gotcha moments of it, all of that kind of stuff we're going to be covering on members content. So massive thank you to everybody who's joined us tonight as well. So say hello. Let us know in the comments where you are tuning in from. We got Brian Anderson. We got Paul Bridge. Paul Bridge also was at the weekend.
He was indeed.
He was there. Did excellent. So massive shout out to Paul Bridge, who is one of our VT, or was one of our students. Now plays for Vanguard Tactics, and he's actually #1 in the UK at the moment, Paul, after this weekend's results. So Paul,
high flying.
Fantastic work, mate, at the weekend. Fantastic work, Paul. So, big shout out to you. Brian, hope you're doing well. Luke Waters has just become a lieutenant. So, Luke will be able to get that members content. And welcome to becoming a lieutenant on the channel.
Yep. A few things I do want to say.
Yep.
We might normally expect a live stream battle report around about this time. Well, an hour earlier. Jake was not able to join us, sadly. So we decided, as a nice little break from the norm, we go through a tournament review, which we haven't really done on like sort of free view on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's a few members' videos about it, but it's nice for you guys to get an insight into how we play the game, why we take the lists we do, and of course how we got on at the event. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And also, you know, obviously after playing a huge amount of 40k, it's nice to kind of just have a bit of a kind of not like, you know, depressed from it a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have a bit of a easier week than setting up all the stream and everything. But we will be back next week with a live stream, and hopefully Jake will be able to make that. So anyway, got John Hammer who's just said hello. Andy the Tech Dad, evening. SXXE from Canberra. Robert, hello everyone, he said. So yeah, Brian's doing well. Okay, Michael. So look, this is, as it stands, one of the first events in the UK TC season. One of the first ones, anyway. I think the third one I've been to this season.
Yeah, it might be the first super major other than, I think, Coventry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the first super majors, essentially.
Yeah, one of the earlier ones. However, we're actually getting towards the end of the season for the kind of ITC rankings. Yeah. Seb, do you want to get on that battery, mate? While you stay on that camera. So Seb is here as well, but he's not mic'd up. So Seb is kind of working the cameras for us tonight. He is just currently breaking everything as well, clearly. It's okay. Don't worry. Nobody panic. So, yeah, obviously, early on in the season for the for the UKTC, but end of the season, really, for the ITC.
Yep.
And there's only really now a couple of events left which you can basically get those big points. Yep. And that's at Nottingham and the LVO itself.
That's right, yeah.
So, obviously we're going to go to the LVO. We've got our workshop the day before. The LVO kicks off at the Las Vegas Open, which is run by the guys at Frontline Gaming. Really looking forward to that event. Should be very, very exciting. So it was a big one. Obviously, loads of attendance there. Some very good players were in attendance. We had loads of VT players there as well. So shout out to Mike Porter, did exceptionally well, as always, after winning Coventry.
Yep.
Set his sights on obviously this event and did very, very well as well. Went 5-0, but unfortunately didn't quite make the top 4.
Yeah, so I do want to say something about Mike Porter.
Go on then.
I massively respect the fact that he's continued to play Harlequins through thick and thin.
Of all the nerfs.
No matter what.
Yeah.
And whenever, so we have a group chat sort of for all of the VT coaches and stuff. And he's always talking about how he's playing a fun list.
Yeah.
He talks about lists that looks fun.
Yeah.
And I really respect that sort of attitude towards a list being both good, but also it needs to be fun in order to want to take it and play it.
Yeah, no, that is exactly right. You want to make sure, for us anyway, enjoyment comes first and foremost. I mean, I wrote an email last week about the event.
Oh, I've not heard anything about this email at all.
No, nobody spoke to us about it at all. And essentially, in my email, I kind of said that, and I'm going to do a further video on this in kind of going a lot more detail. So I don't want to elaborate on too many points.
Yeah.
But in short, what I really want to see in the future from competitive 40k is less of the tournaments. Now, this isn't nothing to do with the players. It's actually really, I think this falls down to like the structure in the organization.
Yeah.
Because if rules are written, then people are going to adhere to those rules.
Of course.
It only becomes a problem when people step outside of those rules.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as it stands, there's no rules or regulations around, for example, sticking to a particular army or anything like that. You can kind of do and mix in, play whatever army you want, right? Yep. Which to some degree is great. Gives good variance. It means that, nothing ever is stagnant. But what it does mean is that people are able to jump from list to list.
Yeah.
And as we know in 40k, there are times when certain units or certain armies, due to the release date of it, due to a balance update, due to just popularity or somebody spotting something in that kind of book.
Yeah.
And when you're kind of in between potentially a balance update and a points update, there's always going to be some units more efficient than others.
Yeah.
It's kind of always the case, right? So what happens is over time, players will jump from one efficiency or maximum efficiency army to another.
Yep.
And therefore, what that kind of creates is an imbalance in the meta. And what I would love to see is events or structure or organization say, look, if you want your points, you can only get points off the registered factions that you, at the start of the season, register. Now, it could be 2 factions. It could be 3 factions. Maybe it's books. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not exactly pinpointing on all the little logistics. But people might say, what about Votan? Well, Votan, how often does a completely new faction come out?
Not often.
So we could just say, look, if a completely new faction comes out, do what you want.
Yeah, you can switch one of yours, maybe.
Yeah, you could have a switch or something. But that means then, rather than when these new codexes come out or whatever, rather than people jumping on them and, buying an army in a week off eBay or, beg, borrowing, stealing an army just to get it, tournament ready, and, maybe didn't quite put as much effort into that army as they could have or have done with other armies in the past when their skill, because half of the hobby is the hobby part. Yeah. And the other half is obviously the gaming part. And it's nice to see a player that really kind of combines both of those together. We all can admit then when we never like playing against an army of grey plastic models, do we? No. When we see a really nice painted army, it is much more enjoyable for us to play against.
Absolutely.
Now, it's not to hobby shame anybody that necessarily doesn't have the skills, but it is nicer when you can just tell they've put time and effort and energy into it.
If there's effort. That's all we're looking for is effort.
Yeah, I think effort is key.
Yeah.
Because the more effort you put into anything, the better that person's going to get. Yeah. Nobody's talented with art. You learn it. It is a skill. The more you do it, the better you get. As simple as that. But anyway.
I think Jake's talented with art.
Jake's very talented, yeah. He is a very talented man when it comes to art, but that is Jake. We're not as special as him. Now, more to my point, though, is what we would stop is this kind of jumping from one thing to another. And people getting rules wrong. Yeah. With armies that they're jumping to. Yep. Because that can happen. Yep. And ultimately, it then stops this kind of shift in balance updates as well. Yes. Because when especially top players jump to a certain army, all of a sudden it makes that army perform extremely more efficiently than, let's say, the regular player base. Which therefore, in that time period, it shows all the weaknesses in that army in terms of how efficient it might be. And then when those players leave that faction, unfortunately, a nerf might come in, and it absolutely hammers that faction into the ground. Yeah. But those players have moved already to the next one. Yeah. So it would kind of stop that a little bit. But now I'm not saying you can't go to any tournament and play whatever you want. You absolutely can.
Exactly.
But you wouldn't score your ITC points for it or whatever points. I'm using ITC. I'm not, explicitly saying them in general, but do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yes. Yeah. So the goal of this is not to make people play a certain faction. It's not to force people to play something. We want everybody to play what they want. Yeah. However, we want to encourage creative and diverse list builds by encouraging people to stick to a faction. And then give them the opportunity to play maybe 1 or 2 games, or 1 or 2 events with a different faction, and have the score count. Yeah,
and because the other thing as well is, what will happen is people will have to work the problem.
Yeah.
So a new, alpha predator comes into the game, and you need to work the problem.
Yeah.
You can't just jump on it. It's not like if we can't beat them, join them attitude. No, that is always the worst attitude to have, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'd really love it to go, look, hey, how can we have a more fresher approach to, the game, really?
Yeah.
And therefore, we would end up with players that are fantastic players that would have to, through thick and thin, even when their codex might not be the best, really show off what they can do at the tabletop.
Yep.
So what we're going to see is an increase in skill level, more so than necessarily just a skill in list building.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because normally once a list is built and it's like, hey, this is the list you need to take.
Yeah, exactly.
We see a lot of people kind of saying, I'll just kind of use that, tweak it slightly or whatever. But it's still pretty much the same thing, right? And it can actually end up kind of, end up winning more games than maybe that player at that skill level maybe should.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
If they'd have stuck to maybe another faction.
Yeah, so they're not really learning as much or they're not getting as much out of their game as they could if they were using a faction that didn't have, let's say, maybe a crutch that would then skew
certain matchups or whatever.
Certain matchups, exactly.
Yeah, or, compensate.
Yeah.
Compensate in other areas. Now, this isn't to say that applies to everybody, but it's going to certainly apply to some people, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, let's say there is a really good Knights build. Okay, I'm just going to use Knights as an example.
Yep.
Now, let's say there's 5 big Knights were... Can you take 5 big Knights?
I don't think so.
4 big Knights?
4 big Knights.
Let's say 4 big Knights. So let's say 4 big Knights are just like the thing.
Yeah.
And you've got 8, we've got 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and, somebody writes them a little cheat sheet and go, right, do this with 1, do this with 2, do this with 3, do this with 4. And all of a sudden, that player who might be completely new...
Yeah.
Doesn't really understand the nuances of the combat phase.
Yep.
They just follow this little plan, and all of a sudden they win games. And because their opponent can't deal with 4 Knights, it compensates for them at that level. And it's okay to be bad at the game.
Yeah.
We should all expect to be rubbish when we begin.
Yeah.
We should all expect to lose loads of games. If I started playing football, I wouldn't all of a sudden expect myself to, be playing against Manchester United and winning games. I'm going to lose. Right? It's just... You're bad anytime you start anything, and that's okay. Yeah. The most important bit is enjoying the journey of getting better and improving your skill. But I do want to say a massive, massive thank you. What a legend, John. John McCardell was just gifted 50 Vanguard Tactics memberships. So make sure, if you haven't done so already, first of all, if you do grab a gifted membership, say thanks to John because he's a legend. And then obviously check out some of our members' content and enjoy that while you've got it. And if you do really enjoy our members' content, then make sure you resubscribe in a month's time when your membership that's been gifted runs out. So we got Liam Dempsey in the chat here, Moody Minis, Cheap and Tacky, John McCarthy. You absolute legend, John. You really are. So people sort of saying thanks to John. So yeah, I'm interested to hear people's opinions who are in the chat.
We've had someone's made some comments about potential changes. So there was one where limiting the maximum number of a specific faction at an event. I'm not sure that would work because it might deny people the opportunity to play an army that might be the only army they have.
Yeah, you can't do that, I don't think.
So I don't think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, what you can only do is, it'd be, sorry, Michael, you can't play your Night Lords. It's my only army.
Yeah. But there's 5 Bile players already, and they're all the Chaos Space Marine ones.
Yeah.
So I can't play.
So if we restrict the players in terms at the start of the season, then, if, for example, Night Lords are super popular and everybody picks Night Lords, then we're going to be in a Night Lord meta for a while.
Yeah.
But if people are able to score 2 or 3 armies, or from 2 or 3 armies, then actually there will be some variance. Like, for example, this season, I've predominantly played Blood Angels.
Yep.
I'm talking ITC season.
Yeah.
And I had...
Quins, quite a bit.
Quins. Fair few with the Quins book.
Yeah.
And obviously, as part of that, the Azarani book, should we say?
Yeah.
And then I've had a few games with, or a few tournaments with the Emperor's Children.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't have minded, because I built this kind of really cool Emperor's Children army.
Yeah.
And I've been working on it for a while.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have mind taking it to a tournament, just not scoring any points.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'd have been perfectly fine with that.
Agreed.
I can make that decision thinking, yeah, okay, I won Best Blood Angel player.
Yeah.
Cool, happy with that.
Yeah.
Fine. I can move on to the next one now.
Yeah, I've got a beautiful army that I want to use at an event. I don't care if I don't get the ITC points. I want to use the army at the event.
Yeah.
And it's all about having that choice.
Yeah.
But also not encouraging what we might call meta chasing, I guess. And using the latest, strongest faction.
Because I think there's also one of the biggest responses I got from that email was the amount of people that would love it because they wouldn't be so off-put by events.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, right, you go to an event, okay, and let's go back a few weeks. Necrons, all right? We're all aware that Necrons had some really strong secondary, they still do.
Yep.
And there's some really strong builds in there, with obviously the whole army being objective secured. Now, any of us going to that tournament, if we draw Necrons, we're like, oh,
great, Necrons.
We know that regardless of, player skill, regardless of what army I've got, the Necrons are going to score lots of points. And if I can't deal with them quickly enough or don't have the right tools, game over.
Yeah.
And we know that there's a really good chance of playing them.
Yeah.
However, and Necrons have always had a good following anyway.
Yeah.
We would see the people who have chosen to dedicate their time to Necrons.
Yeah.
Play as Necrons.
Yeah.
And we would see the people who are hunting for ITC points play as a different army because they can't get ITC points from just jumping on the Necron train for the moment. And I think that would encourage, as you say, people to go to these events because they know they're not going to be playing loads of this one army that's really strong right now.
Yeah, and I think often, like, sometimes content creators or whatever can talk about an army, how bad it is, or how bad it is to play against. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, before you at home have even played against it, you've got this fear factor of it.
Yes.
Because you think, oh, well, Steve and Mike said it's really bad, or, whoever, I'll use us as a named content creator rather than anyone else.
Yeah.
But they can end up creating an echo chamber, and then all of a sudden that gives you a negative mindset before you play it.
Yes.
Or it would also stop. There are certain tournaments that are more preferential for shooting armies.
Yep.
And there's other tournaments that are more preferential for combat armies.
Yep.
So what it means is, in your own book, you'd have to slightly tailor to the terrain. Do you want a slightly more shooty build? Do you want a slightly more combat build? All right. Or do you want to go for, do you know what I mean? You can't just go, well, I'm playing at this event, so I'll take a gun line. I'm playing at that one, so I'll take a combat one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you might be able to flux it, sort of slightly. Or maybe at the start of the season, you think, do you know what? I'll go for a real heavy shooting army like Tau. And then I'll pair that really well with my other choice as being Blood Angels. So I could play like the two ends of the spectrum.
Yep.
But it means that there's less crossover in skill between those armies.
Yeah.
As a player, right?
Yeah.
So that starts to create an interesting kind of dynamic as well. But look, like I said, there's nothing like, at the moment, the reason why people obviously do this and they go from one thing to the next is because why wouldn't you? Because it's a tournament. You are going to the tournament to very much try and do your best.
Yeah.
Why would you not take the best thing that you could take?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's one attitude. Some players will be wanting to, improve their rankings, improve their scores. Some people will be hunting for those trophies. Some people will be hunting to make their mark on the meta, or make a team, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember when I was going, for the England selection, I had to go to events, and actually one of the reasons why I didn't make the England team was because they wanted me to play those top meta armies.
Yep.
And to see what I could do with them.
Yeah.
But I never kind of did.
No.
Because I liked playing my own version of lists.
Yeah.
And I liked to see what I could do. So when Harlequins first came out and everybody ran 9 Void Weavers, I was like, well, I'm not doing that. Because me, a shooting Harlequin army at that level of monstrosity doesn't fit my play style. No. So I took Darkwings. Yeah. Still did very well with them. But from obviously the team's perspective, they wanted to see what I could do with that, like, cutting edge or most efficient armies. Yeah. And I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense.
But it's not the way that I want to play the game. No. I want to play, Harlequins with, combat and the rest of it. So I'll read out a few of the comments in here.
Right, you go for that, and I'll be back in a sec.
All right, cool. So, Alan said, "Hey guys, new here to the hobby. These types of videos and your general philosophy around the game is perfect for someone. Content is all great. Possibly see you at Sprue Cutters and Andover. Thank you very much, Alan." VT Jake said, "Shoot me some pics. Would be great to see them." I think he's talking to Mandy. How you doing, Mandy? Legal T, what armies are you sticking with next year? Then Mike and Steve. Okay, so I'll answer mine. Okay, and then when Mike comes back, we'll go over his. I probably... No, do not wait for Mike to come back. Kelsey said, "Do you think this would have people flock to masses in deeper codex with lots of unit options away from smaller factions?" I don't think so. Personally, I think, if I loved Votann, I'd still play them. If I love, I'd absolutely love my Harlequin army. So yeah, I don't see why I wouldn't play them. So yeah, I don't think unit choice per se is something in which I would, you've still got another pick maybe, right? Okay. Brian said, "I don't think it would be necessary to make it deeper versus smaller factions. Yeah, having choice to codex in army. Yeah, exactly. I think so." Joe said, "It might create a problem with Space Marines too because of how many chapters they have, and if they have to choose one, what about other factions?" So I think, for example, with Space Marines, in this, when you open this Space Marine Codex, again with that, I mean, look, I haven't necessarily thought about it to that kind of level in terms of chapters. I'm just saying take the book, right? But if an army like predominantly like Blood Angels or Space Wolves that is used to being run by itself, I'd say, look, that's its own thing. Whereas if you were playing Iron Hands or Imperial Fists, for me it's just a different chapter. So yeah, it depends if they had their own book or not, really. Okay, so got a question here, Mike.
Okay.
What 3 or 2 to 3 would you go with?
For next year?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd probably go with Guard.
Okay, Guard, yeah.
I have a significant collection. I haven't used it in a few years.
You just had a new codex?
Just had a new book.
Nice, yeah.
So I'd like to try it, and I'm happy to commit to that for a year.
Yep.
And I think it's quite a deep book.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of how the meta goes, I think I'll have options.
Yep.
Which would be great. Other than that, I guess maybe I'll keep going with the NIDs. I've really enjoyed Hydra. Mm-hmm. And, even if there's any changes in the future, I think I'd enjoy Hydra. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll go for those 2.
Yep. And then you could still use your Night Lords as
Yeah.
a one-off or something.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a Celts Knights army, as you know. I could drop that into an event because I love them. They're beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, I could run our brilliant studio Tau, painted by Siege Studios. I could run them if I want to run Tau. I've got options. I can still take whatever I want. Yeah. It's just that I would have to commit to a few for ITC points. And I think I'd probably go Guard. Maybe I would go Night Lords rather than Hydra. Yeah, I don't know. So
you already got some decisions to make.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like it. So me, what would I go for? If I had to pick 2, 2's tough. 3's a bit easier. But 2, I'd go for... Definitely stick with the Azarani Codex.
Do you think that would be allowed, or would Harlequins have to be a separate faction?
I think you'd have to just base by book, right?
Yeah, it would be difficult otherwise, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have to do it just by the book.
They just don't have enough units, really. So
yeah, potentially, yeah. But you could just say Azarani Codex.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Necrons.
No.
I know you love Necrons.
No, sorry, people. No, I won't be playing Necrons. Probably...
Ultramarines.
World Eaters.
World Eaters.
Probably World Eaters.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Those new Berserker models look sick.
Yeah, they do. They look very, very cool.
And I feel like I've, it'd be between them and Blood Angels, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in my email I said pick 3 armies. And I think 3's a pretty decent variance.
3's fine. 3 is enough, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because World Eaters is probably like a kind of a mix between your Emperor's Children and your Blood Angels. It's kind of like probably an in-between.
Happy House.
Happy House.
Happy medium, yeah. They're certainly not happy. They're pretty angry, actually.
Yeah.
They're the opposite of happy. So yeah, that's probably what I would stick with. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Jake would stick with his Votann.
And then his other choices would be
Sisters,
Votann, and
Votann.
Votann.
But in a serious note, Jake would play Votann, Sisters,
maybe
and Gene Stealer Cult.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you got 3 picks, let us know what your 3 picks are in the comments, because I think it'd be interesting to read through them all and see what's the most popular.
Yeah.
So yeah, drop your 3 choices in the comments.
Yeah. We've got a £5 here from Andy the Tech Dad. Thank you very much. Hey guys, I went 2-1 this weekend with Deathwatch in my first ever 40k event. I used Mike's members list tech video for inspiration. Thanks so much. That's awesome to hear. Well done. Congrats.
You're welcome.
That is awesome.
Yes, that's amazing. Well done.
Paul Bridge has been a member for 15 months.
Nids and nids, lol.
Legend, yeah. Mandy, Mandy has super chatted $10. He said, "Are you sure you won't be playing Necrons?" All right, I'll be playing Necrons soon, Mandy. Okay.
You can sponsor Steve to play Necrons the entire season.
Don't even tempt them, okay? Because I know what they'll do. They'll do that to me. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, people in. Brian Anderson with his Knights and Admech. Yeah, I probably could have seen that one coming. Scott Harlequin's Dark Angels Votan. Nice. SXXE is said Crons, Orcs, and LOV. Harry Lane's message has been retracted. Wow, he's changed his mind. We've got Thomas here. DeWitt is going to his first tournament, bringing his sister's army. Best of luck. So yeah, look, already some of you are having to make some tough choices, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not to say you can't play them.
No,
anyway,
exactly.
Look, let's get into this, what we actually came here to talk about, and that is our list and how we got on.
Yeah.
So who should do first?
I don't know. How do you feel about it? How fresh in your memory?
Pretty fresh.
Is your awful list?
Yeah, my list is pretty bad, actually.
Yeah.
Should we go with mine?
Yeah, let's go with yours. Well, why did you take Eldari first of all, and then why did you take this interesting list concept?
Yeah, okay. So why did I take, I'll come back to this in a second, but why did I take Eldari? So I felt like after UKTC, I couldn't, because of the map layouts and stuff, I couldn't really quite get to grips with the Blood Angels on that terrain sets in terms of some of the missions, some of the matchups at the moment. I didn't really feel like I could give it my all with Blood Angels.
No, fair enough.
There were certain games in which I felt like I couldn't display my skill because of the terrain was kind of holding me back slightly on some missions, not all, just a couple.
Yeah.
But it was enough for it. And also I've played, I've played them a lot. Yeah. Played the Blood Angels a lot this season. I didn't really like the play style of the Emperor's Children.
No, because you did take them to the Coventry GT, which was just a bit before Leicester.
Yeah, not my play style.
No.
Didn't enjoy it. And I thought, do you know what have I always loved playing? I've always loved playing Eldar.
Yeah.
And then we had the Avatar arrive.
Yeah.
So I asked Siege to do this one for us a while ago. And it finally came back. And it's absolutely beautiful. So I ended up taking the Avatar. I put together like what I felt was a competitive Eldar list with including the Avatar. He was a non-negotiable to an RTT, right? A few weeks ago. And I put, in our team chat, I put the list in. I said, look, guys, what do you think? And Jack was like, nah, mate, just take the Avatar and as many Phoenix Lords as you can. And I went, all right, then am I actually doing this? Okay, I'm actually doing this. So I took out all the troops. I took out everything. I just put in Phoenix Lords.
Phoenix Lords, Aspect Warriors, Avatar.
Yeah, that was the list. And ended up winning the RTT.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it.
Nice.
And had so much fun with it.
Yeah.
So then we got talking and was looking at some of the units that I really enjoyed using. And they were the Shining Spears.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, cool. Well, I looked at the terrain and I thought, well, in order for this to work, I need speed. Speed is key if you're going to go for a combat army.
Yep.
And there's nothing quite faster than Saim Hann Shining Spears.
Yep. So Saim Hann, what does that give you?
So Saim Hann, I'll go over the list now then. I'll bring it up. So Saim Hann gives me automatic fallback in charge.
Okay.
And that was a stratagem I used a lot in the RTT.
Right.
Okay, because I didn't take Saim Hann at the RTT. I took exploding sixes and then extra damage on a 6 to wound. So I get fallback in charge and also get reroll charge rolls.
That's not bad.
It's all right. Now, there's a Warlord trait, which is pretty good, but I didn't have enough CPs to take it, which just makes me allowed to heroically intervene 6 inches with one of my characters.
Okay.
And then there's a really cool relic to give my Autarch on Jetbike, because the Shining Spears don't have a Phoenix Lord.
Right.
So I was like, right, okay, well, I'm going to make my own.
Yeah.
So I had a really cool, basically, Autark on jet bike, and he had a flat 3 damage weapon, strength 7, minus 5 AP.
Very cool.
Because a relic.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't the most competitive choice. Giving him the Sunstorm bike would have been better for OBSEC and stuff.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But just, you know what, I wanted a slap kind of character, and he certainly does that.
Yeah.
And then for Saim Hann, I get a 1 CP stratagem for advance in charge. So now my bikes can move 22 inches because they move 16, auto advance 6, and then they can charge.
Yeah.
And then obviously the way that my dice work in terms of my fate dice, as long as I roll a 2, then that gives me an automatic 6-inch charge plus another dice that I'm going to roll, because obviously a charge rolls on 2 dice. One of them's going to be a 6, the other one's minimum's going to be a 1. So I get guaranteed 30-inch threat range from anywhere.
Yeah. And I should add, the advanced charge is for bikers only, just before someone mentions it. But that probably explains some of the choices in the list, doesn't it?
Yeah, so the list is double patrol. I've got the Avatar. I've got Jane Czar. I've got 2 units of Rangers. Obviously, these are in different detachments, but there we have it. I've also got the Autark on jet bike.
Yep.
I've got Baharoth.
Nice.
I've got 2 units of Striking Scorpions. 1 unit's been upgraded, so when I'm wholly within terrain, I get +1 to hit and +1 AP.
Nice.
The other one's been upgraded, so every hit roll's just an automatic wound.
Yep.
Called Crushing Blows. And then I've got 2 units of Banshees. 1 unit of Banshees has got the Mirror Swords with double damage.
Yeah, very nice.
And then the other one's got like a Nerve Shriek, so when it charges, it does a mortal wound if I roll a 2 or more.
Cool.
Then what I did with the Shining Spears was I got 3 units of 5, I upgraded all of them.
Yeah.
So one of them's got, and they've all exactly the same. The Sergeant's got a Power Sword, which basically rerolls hits and wounds. It's called a Paragon Sword.
Yeah.
One of them can reroll, every wound to roll of a 5 does a mortal.
Yeah.
And then one of them gives me +1 to hit for the unit. And then the other one gives me consolidation of additional 6 inches. So they consolidate 9 inches.
Yeah, cool.
And then I spent a CP to give the Paragon Sword one a relic, and then also the Banshees, when they go on the charge, they do mortal wounds in addition as well.
If you do want to see the list, guys, there's a link in the description below. So just click that and it'll take you to our blog page and you'll see both of our lists on there. So if you want to follow along at home or maybe open it in a new tab or something, that's the full complete list. Yeah. Right there.
So Judge Lee has said Eldar list with no psychers. Yeah, 0 psychers. I think it was the first time in history that nobody's ever taken a psyker.
Yeah, to a tournament.
Yeah.
Nuts.
And look, I was under no illusion that my list was any good. No illusion. It was not a competitive army. It's never been taken before.
Nope.
No one, I don't think, ever in their right mind has ever taken Saim Hann before.
No, I don't think they have. No.
Again, no farce here, no doom, no guide, none of that. So, for game 1, I'm up against one of the best opponents I could ever play against. David, we played at Coventry. We had an absolutely awesome game. And David was running his Grey Knights again. And he had an awesome first turn, like got off every single one of his powers.
Yeah.
Now, David knows that he doesn't do that, okay? David normally fails every psychic power in my experience of playing him. So this time he passed every single one. I was like, David, you've just had a clean sweep.
Yeah.
He also made a 9-inch charge from Deep Strike on turn 1.
Oof.
Well, from Gate, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But anyway, pressure was on. David had a very good first turn. And luckily I managed to bring it back, though, towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
And scored like 89-61.
Yeah.
So, but the game was really close on the table.
Yeah.
But then towards the end of the game, I just crept away because it was the mission where you score loads of points if you go second. And I went second.
It's abandoned sanctuaries where you can't scout, move, or infiltrate.
Yeah.
Nice.
So my Phoenix Lords really came into their own there. But a couple of really cool moments. The Avatar, Drago have this massive fight.
Yeah.
And the Avatar kills Drago.
Wow.
Yeah. What an absolute beast.
Yeah.
But turn 1, the Avatar went into 5 Strike Marines.
Yeah.
Killed 2.
Yeah.
Killed 2 out of 5. He's had an absolute whiffer. And then later on, he finished off those 3. Then killed another 5 and then killed Drago. So, he, you know, the Avatar did work in that game, I'd say.
Yeah.
So then I go into game 2. Game 2, I'm up against George.
Okay.
And he's got Twilight Harlequins. 7 boats, 7 units of Quins.
Yeah, okay. A reasonably competitive sort of
build
that you'd see. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This was data
Scry salvage.
Yeah. Hard mission to play.
Yeah.
Especially against a super fast objective secured army. This game was so close.
Yeah.
Like, we are talking, I was like, this is not going well.
Yeah.
I had a few moments of dreadful dice. I was like, oh no, this is not going well. Luckily, literally with about 2 minutes left on the clock, managed to figure it out and found a winning combo just to finish the game. And that game finished 72-68.
Ooh. So that's literally just 4 primary points.
It was Baharoth.
Yeah.
Managed to run over and kill a Death Jester to get me 3 points.
Nice.
My Autarch just auto-advanced in his deployment zone to get behind enemy lines.
Nice.
I think I had 3 models left.
Yeah.
That was it. And it just managed to do just the right things.
That's awesome.
Because of sticky objectives and stuff. And just about got the victory there. But yeah, me and George had a super tight, close game. Yeah. And it was literally right to the wire.
Yeah, awesome.
So game 3 was against Ross.
Okay.
And his Tau. And this was on the mission Death and Zeal. Now, I've been on the worst end of Tau a few times before.
Yeah, this terrain can be particularly brutal.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's those bombers.
It really is.
So the bombers fly over, they stick some marker lights on you, they bomb you, they shoot you, or they just fly off. The crisis suit moves out, they shoot you, the riptides move forward, they shoot you. Do you know what's happening? You're getting shot. Okay? But not in this game. Because I went first. And this is the mission where you're very close together.
Yeah, so it's a quarter deployment. So it's like 18 inches between you.
Yeah. Ross redeployed, put 2 flyers in reserve.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want me charging them.
Yeah.
And then redeployed a Riptide behind terrain.
Yeah.
Now, I went full Blood Angel aggro.
You went all in.
All in. I moved up both units of Striking Scorpions to charge into just 10 crew.
Nice.
I moved 5 Banshees to charge in and kill. They came out the Wave Serpent Advance to kill another 10 crew.
Nice.
I moved Baharoth over to also sort out those 10 crew.
Yeah.
I moved 1 unit of Spears. I also advanced them to go and kill Farsight.
Nice.
I also moved another unit over to declare a charge against the Burst Team Crisis Suit unit.
Crisis Team, yeah.
Kept them behind Obscuring so then they could charge and obviously not get overwatched, right?
Nice.
So here's the thing. So Baharoth fails his 4-inch charge.
Okay.
That was the first thing. And he doesn't get my Craftworld ability, so I can't re-roll it. And I spent my 1 CP, so I'm not spending any... got no, he just stood there. And I was like, okay, that's a bit of a problem. Because I left my backfield objective.
Yeah.
I stickied all the ones in the middle because I had objective secured units on them.
Yeah, nice.
But, basically left my backfield and I thought, okay, Baharoth will fight and then fly up and come back down on my backfield. That's not happening.
No.
Okay?
Just going to stand there.
Failed his 4-inch charge. The Banshees made it. They make the Kroot fight last, kill them, obviously, as you can probably imagine.
Yeah.
Striking Scorpions go in and kill the Kroot.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of a given, right?
Yeah.
Here's what's not a given.
Yeah.
My unit of Shining Spears did not kill Farsight. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, did not kill him.
Okay.
The other unit of Shining Spears did not kill a single Crisis Suit. With the 4-up Storm Shield and the 4-up, I've never seen Ross just rolled like a boss.
Yeah.
He was like 4-up, and then he's like, I failed this one, but I've got a Stim Injector, so I get 4-up Feel No Pain.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
I killed about 3 drones.
Yeah.
Okay? Guess what I lost in combat?
I don't know, a couple bikes?
Nope. 1 bike from the big unit.
Okay.
And then Farsight picked up 4 of my Shining Spears.
Yeah.
Luckily, I rolled a 1 on my morale because I was good at those.
Farsight.
So I'd lost 5 Shining Spears in total in my own first turn.
Yeah.
Not good. And I was like, this is bad. This is very bad. I've absolutely bounced here. And anyway, so because of the way combats work and everything, the Riptide's getting +1 to hit against fly. I lightning fast reflexed 1 of my units of spears. Ross completely obliterated the other unit of Shining Spears he was in combat with.
Yeah.
But could only clear up the units that was kind of in combat with him.
Yeah.
And then turn 2 hit.
Yeah.
My Shining Spears go in. Janezar goes in. Baharoth goes in. The Avatar goes in. Everything's gone in.
Yeah, nice.
And because of the secondaries Ross took was basically you have to do actions.
Yeah, in the four quarters.
In the four quarters.
Yeah.
Table size.
Yeah.
He said only infantry can do it. I was like, right, great. The infantry are going to go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. If I kill the infantry, I can just get rid of 12 points.
Yeah, nice.
I can leave the Riptides and I can leave the planes and they can just shoot me.
Yeah.
But if I just get rid of all of that, that will help. At least kind of bring the game closer.
Yeah.
But because I kind of penned Ross into the corner and he couldn't quite move out far enough and the Avatar was just laying down Riptide after Riptide, heroically intervene into some. That was quite a big win for me in that game.
Yeah, nice.
Quite a big one. So
nice, well done.
Ross just couldn't quite move out onto the primary and get the objective. So it's got a big win there. So I was kind of pleased with being able to go through the Harlequins, bit of a boogeyman list. Then the Tau, I was like, okay, I can't believe I'm actually 3-0 at this stage.
Yeah.
And then I'm up against David with his Thousand Sons. But this is the Thousand Sons and the Tzeentch Flamers.
Yeah.
The combo wombo.
Yeah.
And well, I knew how this game was going to go. This is a very, very strong list.
Yes.
And probably the list at the moment.
Yeah. It kicks out like 30 mortal wounds that you can't do anything about.
No, you can do something about it.
Yeah.
You just eat them.
Eat them.
You
Okay,
eat
cool.
them,
Yeah.
and then you remove your models.
You eat them, remove your models. Excellent.
That's what happens.
And then there's all the flamers. In
They come
addition to
down,
that.
and they burn you.
Yeah.
So you have to eat mortal wounds and get seriously burnt.
Yeah. And then there's a bunch of bolters as well from all of the Terminators and things.
Yeah, so turn one,
Yeah.
I couldn't even believe this.
Yeah.
The Scarab Occult Terminators killed my Wave Serpent with bolt guns.
That's impressive. Yeah.
It was bad.
They've got +1 to wound and stuff, haven't they? So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty bad. I was really hoping I would go first in this game.
Yes.
Really hoping to go first because the way that David deployed, he had his Terminators and next to it he had a Rhino. And in that Rhino was full of Rubric Marines. And I was thinking, right, the old Steve Box specials coming up here.
Yeah.
From what I did against the Harlequin player. If you remember, you'll know what I did.
Yeah. And what's the play?
In What's the Play. I thought, right, I could easily have then moved forward 2 units of my Striking Scorpions that were on the starting line, literally ready to go in.
Yeah.
They would have gone into some Rubrics.
Yep.
And then hopefully picked up, a couple of unit of Rubrics there, and then also gone into the 1 unit of Shining Spears. Could just fly on over, wrap up that Rhino.
Yeah.
And because David had also blocked out 1/2 of it, I only need to block out the other half.
Yeah.
Kill it, kill everything inside.
Yeah, because they can't set up the unit once the Rhino's dead.
Yes.
So they're removed from the board. They're just dead.
So then that would have got me 4 points on behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
Killed some units.
Yeah.
And a pretty decent first turn.
Yeah.
And then all that stuff there has to soak up the smites while the rest of my army is laying up a turn 2 charge.
Yeah, and there's lots of ways to deny Overwatch with the list as well.
That's
just to get into those flamers, and flamers really do die in
Well,
combat.
they were in Deep Strike.
Yeah, okay.
So that meant it would give me another turn to spread out my forces.
Right.
So then they're not. So I get 2 turns to play without the flamers being in play.
Yeah.
So, but unfortunately, that was not the case, and I was kind of on the back foot from there. And I did manage to get 64 points out of it, though.
Yeah, nice.
Which was okay.
Yeah, considering the list, what we might consider on paper imbalance.
Yeah.
I think that's quite good.
Yeah, we had a situation where he did exactly. There's like a bit of a mortal wound bomb.
Right.
There's loads of mortal wounds. To D3 mortal wounds within units within a certain range. Janezar took exactly 3 in the psychic phase.
Yeah.
He shot me 3 times. I had like a 3-up save. I rolled 3 1s.
Yeah, nice.
I went to stand back up Janezar, rolled a 1. So she's not standing back up. Because otherwise, she's on an objective. She's OBSEC.
Yeah.
She makes anybody, if you charge me, I make you fight last.
Yeah.
And I make you -1 attack.
Yeah.
So if she's alive, she then gets me behind enemy lines. That gets me some points on the primary.
Yeah.
And turn 1, the Avatar goes into, or turn 2, goes into some flamers.
Mm-hmm.
In the Avatar, you're expecting big things here, right?
Yeah, probably should kill 5 or 6.
Yeah, killed 2. Killed 2 flamers. And I was like, that's not gone well.
That's disappointing.
He had a bit of a whiffer there. So, unfortunately...
It was the fire, because, he's made of fire.
He just couldn't handle it.
He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it.
So, anyway, look, that's how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy with 64 points, considering what had happened.
Yeah.
So at this time, at round 4, I'm 3-1.
Yeah.
I've already massively over-exceeded what I expected.
Yeah. Nice.
And then going to game 4, I'm up against the classic round 5.
Yeah.
Me versus Ben Jones, one of our VT players.
It was a bit of a shame scrolling through and seeing this matchup because it's never nice to have to play someone that you don't want to beat.
Yeah.
Basically. Because it potentially affects their score, their ranking, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a shame. But I know you guys had a great game.
Yeah. It was obviously like the thing is like the 4th time me and Ben have played this year.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, and Ben's never played against this army before of mine, and obviously we play a lot anyway.
Yeah.
But I went first, and I had a very strong first turn. Okay. Very strong first turn. I just went basically all in.
Yeah.
With all my like little units because I needed these big bricks of Harlequins to come out because he was playing Yanari.
Yeah.
So I managed to trade quite well. Managed to take the Incarn down turn 2.
Yeah,
that was a big. I just had to waste all my shooting.
Yeah.
Because I can't kill anything else. I just have to focus killing the avatar.
Yeah, that's how you deal with them. Yeah.
And I just had to keep putting the pressure on. I kept scoring some points for like assassination and stuff by the end of the game. And I ended up getting 98 points out of that. Yeah. Ben did get a good, respectable 64 based on the pressure I put onto him. Psychic interrogation, R&Ding, like pretty decent secondary picks.
Yeah.
And I had to trade some characters off so I could get my behind enemy lines and things. But I did get 2 rules wrong in this tournament.
Got to strip away your ITC points, Steve. Getting 2 rules wrong, I can't believe it.
So I would like to say sorry to my opponents because I did get 2 rules wrong in this game.
What did you get wrong?
So the Banshees, I thought they were -1 to hit after I've made an advance move.
Right.
Yeah. Turns out they're not. Turns out they're just -1 to hit.
Like all the time.
Just all the time.
Yeah. So you just did yourself out of it.
Yeah. I was like, no, I didn't advance this turn. I'm not -1 to hit. Because just the way it's worded, there's a bullet point and then...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So I got another rule wrong as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Shuriken catapults. Thought they were 12 inches, didn't I?
Right.
Yeah.
What are they?
18.
Steve.
I know.
I can't believe you'd do that.
Put myself 6 inches closer. And that goes to show that, fortunately, I can walk away from those games thinking, do you know what? I've got some rules wrong. Did they significantly impact my score?
Maybe a little.
To my detriment, right?
Yeah, to your detriment.
To my detriment.
Yeah, not... Yeah, obviously.
If, however, that would have been the other way, and I look back and go... Because we're all going to get a rule wrong from time to time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to happen, right? Yeah. You can't... there's no such thing as a perfect game of 40k. You might over-measure, you might under... Whatever, right? But I think... to be quite honest, I'm lucky that they went in my detriment.
Yeah.
And I always, like with the wording on the Banshee thing, I looked at it and I thought, it's easier to play this in my detriment than it is in my... because I think what a lot of players do is they just read a rule and they try to read it that gives them the most and the best ability. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I try to at all the times go, right, what would be the worst way of reading this? And I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
I mean, the Shuriken catapult thing, I mean, who knew?
Who knew, yeah. Well, they used to be 12, didn't they?
And that's exactly
back
it, yeah.
in the day. So
I just thought, they're 12 inches, yeah. 18, though, wow, that makes them quite spicy all of a sudden. I'm on board with them.
Yeah.
Because I could have stayed another 6 inches back.
Yeah.
I'm on board, yeah.
So, I know we're going to do a more in-depth breakdown as members' content. I do have to ask, what were your general secondary picks?
Secondary picks behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
Because I got the speeds.
Yeah.
Then I also... what was the other one? Normally like assassinate.
Yeah.
I like killing stuff.
When you're fast combat's one of the best ways to deal with characters.
Yeah.
And do assassinate. So
and I can fly, so I can jump over units and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the third one was normally the Wrath of Cain.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Which is basically I need to kill something. And this is on the few of my games really killed me as well. Literally. Because, like sometimes you just need a unit to shoot a unit off the table. Because how it works is... I've got to get a kill with an aspect unit in shooting, and then I've got to get a kill in combat So I get 1 point for doing that.
Yeah.
If I get a kill with a different unit in combat, I get another point.
Yeah.
And if I do both of those things, I get 2 additional points.
Nice.
So sometimes Baharoth would like end up killing the, he's different. He's not different, so he only gets 1 point for me.
Yeah.
He doesn't get me for the 2.
Because he's the same aspect.
What? He's the
stuff.
Yeah, he's got the aspect keyword, but let's say I thought, okay, the Shining Spears will kill this unit in shooting.
Right.
And they don't.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, go on, Baharoth, finish it off. Yeah. And then I'd put the spears then into combat, and they whiff it, and Baharoth finishes them off. I'm like, no, Baharoth, you stop it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's and also the Avatar, who is the Wrath of Cain, can't actually score it.
No.
Which is a shame.
That is a shame. And
also the Autarch that knows and has been through all the different aspects, apparently he's forgotten to do it. He just doesn't know how.
Yeah. That one I don't really understand because they literally have done all the paths.
Yeah. He's forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's forgot more things than you know, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, he probably has. You've probably forgotten more things than I know.
Probably.
So there was a chat from Gurgly who helped us out in the guard stream with some of the Eldar rules.
Oh, yeah, nice.
And he was just saying how you forgot all of those rules as soon as you went to the GC.
Look, all right.
Look, there's a lot of things to keep track of.
Look, also, it's like me and names, okay? The first time I hear a name, it's going to stick.
Yeah.
So, can I announce it or not?
Announce what?
What we've been working on all this week.
Oh, we've dabbled.
We dabbled a bit.
We're dabbling a little.
We dabbled. So we've got a guy who's been sent to us.
Yeah.
His name is King
Brood,
apparently, because he's just so broody. So the unfortunate thing is I can't get it out of my head. So every time I'm like, oh, have we built King Brood yet? And you're like, King Brod. I'm like, no, yes, it is, but I can't not say King Brood now.
King Brood.
So unfortunately, I get it in my head and it just sticks. Anyway, so apologies if I butcher names, everybody. It's just dyslexia for you.
You should be used to it by now.
Yeah.
All right, another question. Primary. How are you holding primary? Who's your primary objective? Who's holding your second objective?
Okay, so in the backfield, normally a unit of Rangers.
Okay.
Or sometimes my Wave Serpent. What I'd normally do with the Wave Serpent is move it forward to the middle objective.
Yeah.
Stick there for a bit. Yep. Once all the kids have been dropped off, then what I'll do is the party bus then, sometimes I'll put a unit of Rangers in there.
Yeah.
And then fly it back to my home objective. So then if somebody kills my Wave Serpent, then the Rangers jump out.
Nice.
So if the Wave Serpent's in the middle and then somebody kills it, then obviously out jumps Janesar and Banshees.
Yes.
And then normally on an outskirt objective, I've got a unit of Rangers for objective secured, fortified with 2 units of Strike and Scorpions.
So we're really laying
good combat,
laying those units together on those layering the objectives is what I would say.
Like good pairings,
which is something we teach on the academy.
Like cheese and wine, you need to know which ones go together.
Yes.
I don't drink wine, but I do like cheese, so I just normally have cheese with cheese.
So okay, so it's like cheese and cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No 40k meta, pun intended, because there's nothing about my list that's cheesy. Because I tell you what, the Shining Spears were god awful. Oh my god! I tell you what, me and
they're
Shining.
Fast.
Yeah, they are, and they look cool. I did some nice handy paintwork on them, but my god.
Do they just not kill what you're expecting them to kill?
Oh, good. For 200 points, I'm like, please just kill something.
5 Marines.
Oh, anyway. That being said, I had so much fun with my army.
Yeah.
It also displayed, I think, what I can do with a type of army like that. It pushed my skill level it literally reinforced my email so much.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Literally, it was a very engaging army for all of my opponents to deal with. I literally had no models left in all of my games. So all of my opponents could kill my stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, I just loved it. But it also forced me to deploy impeccably.
Yeah.
It forced me to ensure my movements were just absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
I needed to surgically strike in certain areas. Knowing when to use my stratagems was absolutely key. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'll just remind chat. So remember that there's a link in the description for the actual lists in full. So just click on that, take you to our blog. It's got both of our lists on there, so you can follow that along. Maybe open it in a new tab. But yes, to answer the question, you did have Biting Blade on the Crushing Blows. I think you've got Biting Blade on all your Scorpion Exarchs, haven't you?
Yes,
because it's
Biting
like damage
Blade
2, so it's good to go in.
And extra attacks, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Willow Weeks has said, it's a very cool army, but it's sure playing a hand behind your back. Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of that. But
yeah, I agree. I think, it makes you play better.
It does.
And it's far more enjoyable to play. And I think it's one of the reasons that we're more mentally exhausted this week than we usually are after an event.
Yeah.
Because we've taken lists that really have to
push it,
yeah.
Right, so I've rabbited on for way too long. So anyway, if you have any questions at home, please drop them in the chat, and I can obviously answer any of those. So Michael, let's go over your list then. So this is similar to some degree to what you took to the Bay Area Open, am I right?
That's right, yes. Yeah. Except the Bay Area Open, the terrain was worse, I would say, in terms that it's easier to be shot. On the BAO terrain, the frontline terrain. So it's player placed, which is great. However, because some of the bottom floors, the windows aren't blocking, it was easy to get angles on the army. So I was looking at the LGT terrain and thinking, okay, I can hide on this. I'm going to run this army again.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's had a few nerfs because it's Tyranids. But we've gone for Hydra, which is +1 to hit if we outnumber the enemy unit we're in engagement range of.
Nice. You should do that with the numbers you've got here.
Exactly. And monsters count as 5. So monsters and vehicles both ways count as 5. So if you've got a vehicle, it counts as 5.
Okay.
If I've got a monster, it counts as 5.
So what's your HQs?
HQ, we have the Flyrant with the Reaper of Obliterax, and 5 up Feel No Pain.
Nice.
And Adrenal Glands. This is sort of a classic. You'll see this in basically most Tyranid lists. And yeah, I'm not going to claim any great credit or skill for this guy. He speaks for himself.
Yeah.
What I will say is that with Hydra, he moves 18 inches.
Wow.
And can charge and consolidates an extra 3, so can consolidate 6 inches.
Okay.
Which is insane.
Okay. Who else do you have for HQs?
We've got a Tervagon.
All right, nice.
Which I just love the model. It's the reason I've played the army.
Big Mama Bear.
Because of Big Mama. And she has a Relic Claws, so she can reroll wounds and she gets an extra attack. Yep. And then if she kills units, she gets another attack in addition to a maximum of +3 over the course of the game. That made her actually good in combat. So she was able to actually kill things on her own, which was necessary for such a points investment. And she's really, really hard to kill.
Nice.
But there is a main reason I chose her, and I'll come to that afterwards. We then had no more HQs, no Neurothopes, nothing like that. We had 20 Termagants with Flesh Borers, because you can't shoot the Termagant if there's 15 or more of them alive and they're in front of her. We had 3 units of 15 Hormagaunts.
Love these models.
They're so cool. It's, again, another reason I play the army, because they're so cool.
They actually look like what you would think is a classic kind of takes me back to is it Starship Troopers? Like they actually the other models. What are the other ones called?
Termagants.
They look so rubbish.
Awful, don't they? They look terrible.
Get rid of them.
Yeah.
I just couldn't even put them on my list.
Yeah, if the Tervagon could spawn Hormagaunts, you would never see Termagants from me. Like, no. They look awful. Thankfully, they didn't hang around long, so I didn't have to look at them for very long on the table. So yeah, 3 units of 15 Hormagaunts. No upgrades, just as they are, 8 points a model. But they were exceptional.
Obsec, and they're so fast.
Obsec, incredibly fast. And if I need them to kill something, they'll usually kill it, depending on the target.
Yeah, nice.
Or they can tarp it more elite units.
Yeah, nice. We've just had a quick super chat here from Alunda. It's €2. Thank you so much. Also, super chatting us is a great way to support us here at VT. It really is. So if you do have a question, please do feel like super chatting it in. It's really, really helpful for us to continually grow the channel. You need to add some Wraith Knights for sure. I mean, if I really wanted to take my list to the OP threshold, certainly have some of them.
I mean, on the car drive down, we did actually look at it.
We did look at it, so we didn't completely write it off. I thought, how do I make this army list worse? And I thought, well, let's put a Wraith Knight in, because obviously I need to dial it back a bit. Clearly, I think Wraith Knights are still paying for their 7th edition sins.
Yeah, being invisible and stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, so Michael, back to your army.
Yes. So
Elites.
So in the elites we have Death Leaper.
Yeah.
I actually don't leave home without him in a NID list. I think he's just got such crazy utilities.
I just don't leave home without him, full stop.
Yeah. Well, you don't even know he's there.
Take him to Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
Do your shopping for you. Yeah. Take him on the bus.
So he stops you from doing
Anything.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically. If you're an engagement ranger, you can't use stratagems on that unit.
Yeah.
So he was a pseudo fight last for me.
Nice.
Because I'd put him in engagement range and I'd fight on 2 fronts and my opponent couldn't interrupt.
Can't interrupt, no.
And because he moves 11 inches as Hydra, he can put a banner up turn 1 on lots of objectives. You can't shoot him if you're out of 12 and he's in cover. So he's really good for data scry. He's quite good.
I think he's one of the most technical pieces.
Yeah.
Technical pieces.
Yeah, nice.
In the NID army.
Agreed.
That I think when used properly is one of the most broken units in the game.
Yeah.
Genuinely think so. So if I had a model with his rules in any of my armies, he'd be the first thing that I included. How many points is it?
120 now.
Way too cheap.
He was 95 before, so...
He needs to be 150, personally.
So
he's that good.
He can die quite easily.
Yeah, I know, but still, that's not the point.
But his ability is insane. Also, the other part of his ability is you can't do actions while you're within 6 inches of him.
Right, so it's just getting better.
And I didn't play Necrons at this event.
Right.
However, I did at the RTT.
Yeah.
And this prevented someone doing their silly secondary ancient machineries for loads of points.
Yeah.
Just because he was there.
Yeah.
So that in itself, having a tool to deal with some meta armies is fantastic. So enough about Death Leaper.
Yeah. What else you got in the elites?
So in the elites, we have Venom Thropes.
Nice.
Cheeky -1 to hit, fight last, and also something else that came up in a game. And then we've got 3 Zoanthropes.
Nice.
Pretty classic. I think that's everything in the elites.
Yep. Fast.
Oh, Tyrant Guard. We've got some Tyrant Guard to look out, sir, the big boy.
Yep.
And then fast attack, we have the Parasite of Mortrex.
Yep.
This is probably the second best technical piece.
Agreed.
In the book.
Yep.
And this guy I've given objective secured 5 models.
Yep.
And he can advance or fall back and do an action.
Nice.
Which surprisingly comes up quite a bit.
When you're doing banners.
Especially when you advance. He moves 17 as Hydra.
Right.
And he's obsec 5 models.
Okay.
So it's literally, you can take someone off any objective.
Yeah.
And then you could put a banner up at the same time because he's taking it off them, right?
Yeah.
He's got a relic called the Gestation Sack. So once per game, he can burst his sack.
Right. That sounds painful. Did it once. Never again.
And he can spawn D3+1 Ripper Swarms.
That didn't happen when I did it. Luckily.
Which have to start out with 3 inches of an enemy unit.
But it's quite good, though, for flying onto an objective, putting 5, or counting as 5, and then having, obviously, objective secured, and then bursting your sack, and chucking out some little rippers.
That's right, chucking out some little rippers after bursting your sack on someone else's lawn.
Speaking of bursting your sack, Andrew Baldwin's just entered the chat. How you doing, Andrew? I hope you're good to see you, mate. Good to see you.
Okay.
No?
Yeah, Andrew. Great to see you in the chat. I don't know what he's referring to, but
Andrew knows. You know.
Yeah, so that came up a lot in every game. Every game I used it, and it was fantastic. And of course, because he's got the Warlord trait, he can advance, spawn the Rippers.
Yeah.
Or he can fall back and spawn the Rippers.
Nice.
So that's him. And then I believe the last thing is my heavy supports.
Right.
I don't think I've missed anything in the list. But
no, you haven't.
3 individual Screamer Killers. One of them upgraded to B Synapse.
Ooh.
Now, these are, obviously, you don't see them a lot.
No.
I personally absolutely adore this model.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Look
how
cool.
beautiful it is.
It does look cool.
How cool is that? So these guys run in with 11, strength 7, AP 3, flat 3 damage attacks.
Gross.
And you're like, that's
Gonna
silly.
hurt.
That's really silly. And they consistently, throughout the event, just didn't die when people thought they would.
Yeah.
Because they're -1 damage, 2 up save. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's good. No, thinking what else is good.
Yeah.
You should probably subscribe if you're at home.
Actually, like the video as well. That'd be good. But yes, subscribe.
Subscribe to the show.
Please subscribe.
And every Wednesday you'll get notified when we go live.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So Carl Grundy said you guys are getting filthier every video. Look, get your mind out of the gutter. We're just talking about the Parasite and how you can.
I think Carl's taken this a bit too personally.
I think. Yes.
I think he's probably had some issues.
Kyle with the Parasite.
With the Parasite.
That's
it. Yeah. I think so.
Get over it, Kyle. And if you start talking about Tau, you know Night Bottle's certainly, quieten you down. So anyway, what game 1 then?
Game 1. So game 1, I was actually against an old friend, Byron, who I'd played as a doubles partner with previously.
Right.
And back then he'd played Demons.
On tennis, yeah? Doubles?
Yes, Steve.
Old tennis doubles partners, yeah.
Um,
Byron's always played Demons.
Byron's always played Demons.
When I played Byron about 26 years ago, he was also playing Demons.
Are you more than 26 years old? You don't look it, Steve.
Sadly. Yeah.
Anyway, so he was running Demons at this event. And so he was running Demons, and he had Be'lakor, he had the Bloodthirster with the Wound Cap, he had Kairos Fate Weaver, and 13 Flamers. And now
13, that's chump numbers.
13 Flamers. Flamers are really good. Really good.
No.
Yeah, and
No.
I've got a lot of Hormagaunts.
Yeah.
So they're really good.
At killing Hormagaunts.
However,
yeah, go on.
if you know how to play around them, it's actually okay.
Mm.
And so what basically happened, to summarize the game, is I, turn 1, managed to advance and charge 19 inches with a Hormagaunt unit.
That's quite far.
It's quite far. So the Tervigon gives me +2 move as an imperative for a
Yeah.
whole battle round for anybody within Synapse range.
Yeah.
And they can have a flat 6 advance and be able to charge with a stratagem.
Yeah.
So every game I know that I've got this unit that can turn 1, or maybe in another turn, go 19 inches and charge.
Yeah.
They charged, picked up 10 Demonettes, because it's 45 attacks.
They're going to do that, yeah.
Which will do that. And then consolidate 6 inches, because we're Hydra, we get an extra 3, into Flamers and Kairos Fate Weaver.
And they can't fall back in...
No.
Or they can't shoot into combat, and they certainly can't fall back and shoot.
No.
So you've tagged them right up.
Yes, I got very lucky in that a lot of them survived the attacks coming back, because Flamers aren't actually that shoddy in combat. But the significant thing was...
You could have said shabby.
Shabby.
Shoddy.
Shoddy, both.
Either work.
Shobby.
What you said did not work.
No.
Yeah.
So they're pretty shobby in combat.
Yeah.
And it meant Kairos couldn't fall back and cast powers and stuff.
Nice.
So that was a really good way of neutering a unit of Flamers.
I like it.
Byron got very unlucky in that he failed to cast the teleporting psychic power with Be'lakor
Right.
on the Flamers. However, what I will say is throughout the entire event, the Shadow in the Warp ability to -1 to the cast of any enemy units within 18 inches,
Yeah.
absolutely massive. I would say it probably single-handedly resulted in maybe 10 points for me
Wow.
in terms of how it affected the game.
Who'd have thought?
So, yeah, because I played a lot of Psykers,
Yeah.
and a lot of people were relying on these powers to make their army work. So, in the end, I managed to get the win in that one.
Do you know what else? Because I didn't have any Warlocks or Fasters in my list.
Yeah.
Do you know what secondary I could take?
A
with
Bore
Eldar?
the Witch.
A Bore the Witch. Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought that an Eldar player could take a Bore the Witch? Turns
Yeah.
out when you play against Grey Knights and Thousand Suns, it's all right.
Yeah, it's actually
Yeah.
pretty good, yeah.
Okay, so that was against Byron. The game. Who'd you play game 2?
I played game 2 against Quins, Harlequins, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
You were playing Quins, I was playing Quins.
Yeah, Data Scry Salvage, playing against the Quins. It was like Quins. It was actually a Quins list, so I would have preferred to play a boat list with transports.
Yeah.
Because I've got the movement to be able to surround a transport and then kill it, and the guys can't get out. However, I was playing against 6 Void Weavers.
Oh.
And 10 bikes, 2 units
Spicy.
of 5, and then some infantry.
It was a real shooting-based Eldar army, wasn't it?
Very shooting heavy, and I was kind of there, and I'm thinking, okay, well, if I'm going to take a loss, this is probably the loss, because the blast on the Void Weavers absolutely shreds any of my horde,
Yeah.
and it's so fast that it's going to be able to shoot me wherever I go.
Mm-hmm.
However, I set it up to have the Invent turn 1, and I put the Screamer Killers, 2 Screamer Killers out on a flank with the Parasite protected by Lookout Sir.
Yep.
And some Rippers. He spawned some Rippers as well, just to sort of layer up on the objective. And then the Termagants went and sat on another objective with the Tervigon behind them. And essentially the plan kind of worked because he fired all his Void Weavers into the Screamers and into the Termagants, which I just brought back. And then over the course of the game, so the significant things that happened was 5 bikes charged into a Screamer Killer, didn't kill it, and then in return he lost 4 bikes from the unit.
Nice.
So another big swing there. And then I got 12 on the primary. I got all my banners. From there, I was just able to move so fast with the army, right? Because I get +2 move the turn after. The Hormagaunts are going 13 inches without an advance and charge. and the Screamer Killers are going 14 inches.
So you're able to close down the distance.
So I closed the distance, tagged as much as I could,
Yeah.
managed to get Hormagaunt units into his own lines. The 3 Ripper swarm bases, which I did forget to mention. I have a unit of 3 Rippers. They just got me behind enemy lines by dropping down in his back field, which he didn't really want to have to deal with Harlequins.
Sounds good.
And so over the course of the game, I managed to get points on my secondaries and, of course, nail the primary and deny primary as well. So over the course of the game, I took Cranial Feasting. I took that a lot at the event, actually, where you have to kill sergeants and characters in combat in melee. And you get extra points if you kill the enemy warlord with a Feeder Tendrils unit in melee.
Right, yeah.
Venom Throats had the Feeder Tendrils keyword.
Nice.
And they managed to get to the warlord. So
Sick.
Cheeky round out the 100. I got 100. in that
big
one,
100, eh?
So
Against the Queens, that's good score.
Very happy with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then round 3 then, the last round of day
1.
Day 1, yeah.
Yeah. So played a lovely guy called Max, and he had Grey Knights, and he played really, really well. I thought his tempo was surprisingly, he managed his tempo really well.
Okay.
And in the end, I started running out of units quicker than I was expecting to.
Yeah.
And I managed to claw onto some victory points here and there, but I sort of was a bit nonchalant with some of my no prisoners points and maybe a few characters for Assassinate.
Yeah.
And it came down to the absolute wire.
Yes.
And it was an 85-86 loss for me.
Wow, that was a close game.
But all of the Stormbolters, really, really strong. All of the psychic constant mortal wounds, I couldn't deal with, no defense against them.
Yeah.
And, of course, Armor of Contempt really hurts the Hormagaunts.
I really struggled against Grey Knights as well. Really did.
Mm.
I wonder if we'll start seeing... And also, I think at the end of... so, I played a guy called Sean at the LGT. He's running Grey Knights. He was on table 1 at round 5.
Well, they've got play.
I think Grey Knights could be coming back.
I think so.
I think those silver guys are back in town.
Yeah.
And do you know who they're real good against?
Who?
T-Sons. Yeah. They could be back on the menu, everybody.
Yeah, they could be.
Yeah.
They could be.
Andrew, get your Grey Knights out. Show us what you can do.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay, nice.
So 2-1.
Yep.
And I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
I was expecting to take a few losses with the list anyway, because of the terrain and the meta's quite shooting heavy.
Yeah, you've got a very different type of build of list as well.
Yeah,
it's not just like warriors galore.
So my main hope here was that I would be able to keep consistently scoring high.
Yeah.
I got 99 in the first game, 100 in the second, 85 here as a loss.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of get as many points as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Round 4, I played against an Astraeus super heavy tank, and it's my first experience being opposite one.
Mm-hmm.
And whilst it didn't impact necessarily the score, I can't say I'd like to be in that position again, because it killed everything.
Did it?
It literally shredded my army.
I've never played against an Astraeus before.
And it was Iron Hands. So the stack here was there was a Tech Marine to give it +1 to hit.
So it hits on 2s.
So it hits on 2s.
Right.
It's Iron Hands, and there's a stratagem to put a unit into Devastator Doctrine.
So it re-rolls 1s.
Rerolls 1s to hit, hits on 2s. So it's pretty consistent shooting.
Yeah.
And then there was a Psyker to give it +1 to its save.
So it's on a 2-up.
So it's on a 2-up.
With
and
Armor
then
of Contempt.
It was on a 1-up as well because of something else, but I can't remember what it was.
Right.
Oh, yes, without Armor of Contempt. Yes, of course. So Armor of Contempt and a 1-up save. And I was like, I can't hurt that thing.
No.
I'm just going to leave that alone.
And it literally just tabled you.
It killed so much stuff.
Ah.
So much stuff. Thankfully, I was able to use its size against it.
Is that a Forge Rod unit?
It's a Forge Rod unit. It's
Good.
560 points.
Go and buy one now.
Thankfully, managed to use movement against it and its size. And we were also playing a hold 2, hold 3 mission, Tide of Conviction.
Nice.
Which meant that the Hormagaunt units, even though they didn't kill a thing,
Yeah.
they were extremely valuable at denying points on the primary. And Space Marines at the moment don't have great secondary, so he took banners.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that is not a secondary you can really take against this Hydra build. So we took down all the banners turn 1.
Yeah.
And then they started being harder to put up because you didn't have enough units to put them up. And over the course of the game, Ripper Swarms came in, got me behind enemy lines. A Screamer Killer really shone through by surviving 3 Blade Guard, attacking it, and killing them all in return.
Yeah.
So over the course of that game, good. I scored a lot of points.
What is it? Is it a heavy support? Is it a
Lord of War?
It's a Space Marines.
Space Marine Lord of War. Yeah.
Lord of War.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, here we go. We're getting there. That's the
yeah.
one.
It's temporary out of stock, everybody. It says the Astraeus Table Michael Heavy Tank is temporarily out of stock. So clearly you guys have already been on there and beat me to it.
It's, yeah.
Wow.
Obviously, it's a bit of a all
Wow.
of your eggs in one basket.
Well, yeah.
But
If
it
you-
did absolutely destroy my army.
If you table Michael with it, it's
was
worth
pretty-
every penny.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By 2.
Yeah, so that was a really good game. I did get 90 because I took Cranial Feasting, but I couldn't get his 2 characters for obvious reasons because they were sat behind a giant 560-point tank that just killed me.
Yes.
So yeah, that was a good score. I was happy
Nice.
with that. Then I was going into round 5.
Yep.
Hoping here to score well, maybe get a win.
Yep.
But fully accepting I was probably going to play something nasty.
Okay. And did you?
18 Flamers.
Tame.
2 of the Burning Chariots with the Exalted Flamers on top.
Doesn't even sound hot enough.
A Fate Skimmer. Be'lakor.
Right.
And I think there was 30 Bloodletters in various units and 2 dog units, Fleshhounds.
Right.
And a couple of Footcasters.
Doesn't sound hot enough to me, mate. Could do with some more flame in
Well,
there. Could do with some more flame.
Things started to heat up early in the game.
Yeah.
But as they say, you've got to fight fire with fire.
Yes.
So I decided to get aggressive. And what it is I screened the Flamers.
You're not allowed to put them on actual fire, mate. That's not really cool to do that. You can do the matches at home, mate, okay?
Well, I wasn't wearing the Vanguard Tactics top at the time. I had a jumper on.
Right.
So I was like, sportsmanship, go out the window.
Yeah.
When
Get the lighter
when I'm
out.
not wearing the
Lighter.
VT top.
Some sort of aerosol.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, they're on fire now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you like
yeah,
those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you go and buy some more? Yeah, here they're out of stock.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good luck with
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I used my +2 move turn 1.
Yeah.
What was it? No, I used the Invum because I was expecting the drop for the Flamers.
Yeah.
And I spread out, but I hid my Hormagaunts.
Right.
So 2 units of Hormagaunts I hid at the back of my field.
Yeah.
1 unit of Hormagaunts, surprise, surprise, went 19 inches and charged some Bloodletters and killed them and took down a banner. And then I put the Screamer Killers forward, and I put a unit of Termagants with the Tervagon forward.
Yeah.
The Flamers dropped in,
Yeah.
but only 12 this time. And absolutely annihilate the Termagants, which is like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just Termagants. I'm glad you took them off the board because the models suck.
Yeah.
And then
Do you know what? Games Workshop have been quite clever
they have.
with Flamers.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Yeah.
Do you know the only place you can buy them?
Where?
It's in the AOS Vanguard box.
Nice.
So what you need to do is it's a £70 set of 3 Flamers now. Yeah.
Yeah, if you really don't want the other stuff.
If you don't play AOS, then yeah. You can.
Yeah.
Anyway, just buy that box. How many times? 6 times.
6 times.
6 times. So if you want to get an army of Flamers, you get some Screamers in there. Are they called Screamers? The fly things?
Yeah.
You get some of them in there you can use.
Yeah.
Zangors you could use.
Could you?
You
well,
could
yeah,
use
you could
them.
use them in the
You
thousands.
could use those in the Thousand Sun build.
Yeah, you could, yeah.
So what you need to do is spend £420 to get you your Flamers, all right?
Okay, that sounds good to me. Yeah, nice. Easy.
Lap
easy.
them up.
All right.
Vanguard
Easy.
box, AOS, get one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send us the rest of the models you don't use.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then the other Flamer unit basically killed a Screamer Killer.
Mm.
And I was like, you know what? If I can kill these next turn, that's a really good trade.
Yeah.
Like, really good trade. And then a unit of Bloodletters Deep Struck, because they can do the leadership-based Deep Strike.
Yeah.
So I screened with the higher leadership models.
Nice.
And I screened with Zoanthropes, because they don't really do anything for me in this matchup.
Yeah.
And he charged them with Bloodletters and killed 2, because they got 4 up in bum.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's fine. And then next turn, I proceeded to kill both Flamer units with my combat. The Screamer Killers are incredibly effective into Flamers, because they're 11 attacks and they're flat damage 3.
Yep.
So
Nice.
every single wound that goes through kills a Flamer.
Yes. Yeah.
And I didn't realise.
See, I thought they were. How many wounds have they got?
3.
They have got 3. Yeah. See, I thought they were 4 for some reason, but I don't know why. Anyway. Yeah.
Well, maybe they need to be 4. I think they could do with a boost.
They are a bit weak at the minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or hitting and all that. Killed those 2 units. Killed the Bloodletters using Death Leaper's ability to stop them from interrupting with CP.
Nice.
And a Hormagaunt unit. The Hormagaunts were very, very efficient into demons because you can re-roll wounds for 1 command point.
That's
as
good.
Hydra if you outnumber your enemy.
+1 to hit as well. So you're hitting on
+1 to
2s,
hit.
wounding on 3s.
3s, hitting on 3s, but yeah. What I found a lot actually was my monsters kept getting the +1 to hit because they'd fight characters or they'd fight units that were cut down a little.
And you count as 5.
They count as 5.
Yeah.
So what I would tactically do, the Screamer Killers have D6 shots, strength 8, AP 4, 1 damage, which is quite good at chewing through like one model in a unit.
Yeah.
So whenever I'd fight Space Marines or something, I'd shoot them all at the same Space Marine unit, kill one model, and then the Screamer could go in. It'd be 5 models versus 4, and I'd get +1 to hit. So I'd hit on 2s with the Screamer Killer.
Yeah.
So using that kind of stuff to my advantage. The Demons game carried on, and I kept making successful, good trades. The other Flamer unit came down. I wasn't really able to be very effective.
Yep.
So we went in and managed to kill that as well. And the Cranial Feasting secondary was very good against demons because every single one of their unit has a unit champion.
Yeah.
And over the course of the game, I maxed the secondary and I maxed the primary, and I was able to get a 95 win out of the game. And I was very, very happy with that against 18 Flamers and
Be'lakor.
And
Bloodthirster.
I didn't kill Be'lakor.
Good list.
There was no Bloodthirster, but
okay.
just lots
you
of
had all
blood letters and
that
things,
was in the other game, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I was very, very happy with that.
So you took Cranial Feasting a lot. Banners, I'm assuming you took
banners,
a lot.
definitely banners, because I've got so much obsec, and I can spawn guys back onto objectives.
And then Psychic Interrogation?
No, so I didn't do any psychic ones actually at the event because demons have a Khorne stratagem to turn off for power.
Of course, and you played against them, and also you played against
twice.
And you played against
Grey Knights.
Yeah, and you play against Harlequins, and all of their characters just in transports. You can't target them anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course I played against Iron Hands, who also have a stratagem to turn off for power.
Oh, yeah.
And of course their 2 characters are behind the 560-point tank.
Yes.
So I didn't want to go anywhere near that.
They're at the back. Yeah.
So I didn't take it once. The other one I took was behind enemy lines.
Yeah, fair enough, because you got the speed.
I'd built the list for. I think it's an underrated secondary. Because the 3 Rippers can drop in. The Parasite on his own can move 17 inches, advance, still do an action to drop the Rippers out to burst his sack into the enemy deployment lines. And then I've got 2 units behind.
That's very strong.
For 4 victory points straight away.
So one of the things that me and Michael did before the event was actually got all the terrain out, and we actually set up each of our deployments, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we went through that multiple times. And this is actually a lesson we're going to be probably adding into the academy at some point, because we've got a really nice module on deployment.
Yes.
But I think we can take it probably one step further at some point in the future. We can do some technical lessons and stuff on actually take our how to prepare for a tournament to that next level. We've got a really good module on there as well, but I think us showing that one more interaction will be a lesson that might need to add to basically document what you and I did, because I think both of us went into that event feeling very prepared, knowing exactly what we needed to do, and clearly we've both gone 4-1 with an off-meta list, so it must have worked. So I think all that preparation did come into play. So I think that'd be a nice little lesson we could add into one of those tournament preparation
It really
models.
helped me know that a 19-inch move and charge could threaten any objective on the board.
Now, if you are not on the academy and you're not aware that our Vanguard Tactics Academy is a 16-week, very intensive, essentially master the game of 40k online course, okay? And what we aim to do is help you to become an incredible opponent, understanding and mastering the game. So whatever faction you play, you're going to have really good sort of confidence when you use it at the tabletop. So currently, I believe there's only 10 days left to enroll on this intake on the course. Now, there's many students of ours in the chat at the moment. So if you are a student and you are watching, please let the chat know what you think of the academy. That would be great. Do it, say whatever you like. And I'm going to put the link into the chat right now. So the link's gone into the chat if you want to sign up to join us for the next 16 weeks. It starts on the 19th of December. You get basically 16 modules. You get a module every single week. Every module is roughly 8 lessons long.
That's right.
Each lesson is roughly 11 minutes long. So providing you've got about an hour to 90 minutes a week, that you spend on the hobby, you'll be able to get through the entire course and program. If you want a little bit more support and you want to, play for VT and also come part of our community on Discord, you get 4 live lessons a week as well. Interact with our community and coaches like Paul, for example, like Brian Anderson, all those legends, Carl Grundy that's in the chat here, Andrew Bourbon. You better interact with these absolute legends of the game and really pick their brains on, your factions and things. So become a silver member. If you want to become a gold member, now there's only 1 gold member space left. 1 gold left. And with gold, you get the shirt, you get the dice, you get the objective markers, and you're going to be put into small WhatsApp groups, okay, with a coach. that's going to basically, check in with you once a month on a Zoom call, all of you as a small group, and you're going to be put into essentially like-minded kind of factions and stuff when we get all the numbers in. Then if you're a platinum student, it goes one step further. You get obviously what everybody else got, but you also get 16 one-to-one phone calls with a coach that we deem to be most kind of appropriate for your
based on faction,
skill level, all that kind of stuff. So over those 16 weeks, we'll take you through army list writing, to developing a game plan with you, to how to handle every single other faction that's in the game and really get you ready. So for example, one of my guys, Josh, just coming to the end now of his 16 weeks, he's going to sign on for more coaching, ready for the LVO. But Josh joined me and he had never played a game before. Never played a game. And then what he's now doing is going to majors and super majors. He's going 4-2.
Yeah, nice.
He's absolutely crushing it. He's now actually going to local clubs and teaching people how to play.
That's fantastic.
And that's happened in literally the space of 18 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been phenomenal now. He's even said to me now when he goes to club nights and stuff, he's having to rein himself in a little bit and just kind of help out people. So, Paul Bridges just super chatted in £5. He said, worth every penny. Definitely helped me improve my recent performance. Would 100% recommend. I mean, Paul Bridges is literally living proof of it. He's number one in the UK at the moment.
Yes.
And
he's a fantastic guy.
He is. So. Yeah, he is absolutely awesome. And also Paul Bridges is going to be running some events as well, so it'd be great to see VT sponsoring some events and being run by Vanguard Tactics players, because that their rules are going to be awesome. Quads is in the chat. Luke Quadling, good to see you both on the weekend. Great results. Good to see you too, buddy. Shiam2 said Academy is great. Thank you very much. Tattoo Tabletop, Vanguard Tactics Platinum member here, worth every penny. Paul Bridge, worth every penny. Milo said sold. Awesome. Look, if you are unsure about the Academy, whether it's right for you, okay, maybe you're not, you don't know whether you want bronze or silver. I think there is in total, we've got 100 spaces at the start. We have now left with, I believe there is 15 bronzes left.
I think so, yeah.
There is 20 silver left. So they've both literally half have gone. And we've got 1 gold member left space and 3 platinums left. So there's literally like 30, 38, 39 spaces left on the Academy. And tomorrow night, I'm going to be doing a Zoom call at 7 o'clock to go over all the different packages. I'll show you behind the scenes, absolutely everything. I'll show you some of the lessons, so you can really get a good feel for what it's going to be like. You can ask me any questions that you have. And also, if you're still unsure, you can actually book a one-to-one call with me. 15, 20 minutes, we can go over absolutely everything, all the questions that you have. We want to make sure that if you do work with us on the Academy, you're 100% happy with what you've, basically gone for. And we want to make sure that you do get the package that's completely right for you. All right. All we want to do is give you as much value as we possibly can and accentuate your learning and really take you on a really awesome journey to kind of, I suppose, conquer the game of 40k. We'll put all the confusion to one side. You'll no longer feel overwhelmed, and you'll be surrounded by a really great like-minded community that want to help you be the best that you can possibly be, okay? One Shot Will said, how do we book the call? All you need to do, mate, is check out that link, okay? And on there, you'll see my calendar. And all you need to do is book in for when suits you.
Fantastic.
I need to make sure that there's some spaces basically there, but I believe there are. If not, shoot me an email. Hey Steve, Stephen at VanguardTactics.com, and we can book in that phone call for you. Ethan said the go at your own pace nature of the Academy was really great for my schedule and learning. I play 40k League so I could cram before each game. Honestly, that's absolutely awesome. Metal Gear Muffin, can we have a confidence and clarity, Stephen? You absolutely can have the confidence and clarity once you finish the Academy, as Jake would say.
I want to go through just a few of the frequently asked questions. So one of them is about updates. Any updates to the edition will be included and updated for free if you're in the Academy.
So we obviously, for example, when we revamped the course last year, it was Nakmund, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So we did all the missions. There's a lesson on every single mission. And all the secondaries. And then when the film came out, we updated it all. We didn't remove it, we just added to it. Okay, so yeah, we absolutely do that. And obviously when, for example, like a Meta Watch or whatever comes out, or a balance update, obviously then we do things like quiz the coach on them. We do the mentoring lessons on them. So depending on what level you're on, obviously if you're on Platinum, we'll literally go over with you how it's going to affect you personally, tweaks and changes you need to make. So yeah.
Absolutely. And the go at your own pace thing, once you've got the academy, you've always got the academy.
Yeah.
So you don't need to fit all of your learning in the 16 weeks.
Spread it over
you
24.
Can spread it over 24 or
48.
even longer.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you've got a busy lifestyle, just do a lesson a week. Just do 2 lessons a week. It's absolutely fine. Go at your own pace. So you don't have to worry about that.
Also, another commonly asked question is what happens with the time zone differences? Well, it's on demand. You can watch the academy lessons whenever you want. Okay. The live lessons we do, for example, quiz the coach, where basically one of us will answer your questions. Then what we're going to do then is basically make sure we put a Google document into there, and then we'll answer any questions that you have as well. So yeah,
excellent.
And then also they're all recorded and then put into our vault.
That's right.
Tattooed Tabletop said VT has helped a ton. I was getting demolished regularly. It's helped give me a positive spin on games when it was lost, which is huge. When you change your perception of losses and see the positives, it's game changing. Honestly, or James, thank you so much, mate, for that super chat and also the kind words about the academy.
Yeah, we wouldn't take non-meta armies to a tournament if we saw losses as a negative thing. Yeah. So really, this is going to completely change your perspective on the game. It's going to really help you get so much more out of the hobby. Yeah.
Metal Gear Muffin, but jokes aside, the academy is great. I signed up for Platinum and it was so worth it. Mike has been a treat to work with. Metal Gear Muffin.
Likewise, Alex.
Is that Alex, is it?
Yeah, it's an Alex, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much, mate.
He was actually building up to go to the Alliance Open.
Right.
But unfortunately was ill. Like all this time we were waiting for him to do this big event and chat about it afterwards. And
Alex, don't get ill, mate.
Unfortunately got ill.
Wow.
Yeah. But we'll catch another one.
Yeah, nice. Ethan has said, pick your secondaries is his favourite lesson. The game is won by scoring points, and having Mike walk through his thought process about his list is super helpful. Thanks again, Mike's. Yeah, so pick your secondaries is a lesson we do, and we basically give you a mission. We give you an army to go against, and what you've got to do is pick your secondaries, and Mike will go through them and give you personal feedback on whether they were the right picks or the wrong picks. Again, that lesson's recorded, so you can get your homework in, and you can still watch it back, even if you can't make the live lesson.
Yeah.
So I think that concludes everything.
It does.
So if you've been granted a member through John, you're an absolute legend. If you haven't become a member yet, then become a member. It's $2.99. Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah. Yes, Seb.
I have a question.
Seb's got a question.
Most valuable model from the event.
Most valuable model from the event. Oof. That's a good question. Shall I go first?
Go on. I need to think about mine.
I'm not actually sure. I was just trying to give you an opportunity there. What was my most valuable model? I think I probably have to give it to the Screamer Killers for consistently being annoying and never dying and surprising me, because it usually would take double what I would expect for people to kill them, and they turn around and absolutely punch people way above their weight. So I give it to the Screamer Killers. I think they did a fantastic job.
Well, before I tell you mine, we've got a question here. One Shot Will, you may have said this, but can you spread the payments? Yes. So you pay in 4 installments. Yeah. Okay. So let's say you signed up today because you want to grab that last gold space. All right. Or maybe one of those platinum spaces. Then you pay the first one today. Yep. On the, 7th of December? Today?
Yeah.
And then you're going to pay another installment on the 7th of January.
Yeah.
And then another one in February.
Yeah.
And another one in March. Then you're done.
Yeah.
So,
most valuable unit. I mean, was he really though?
Well, he is, because he was painted by Siege for a start. He's definitely the most,
probably one of our most valuable.
He's definitely the most valuable. Yeah. He was actually.
I've actually on my contract. It says that it is a sackable offence to drop a Siege Studios painted model. Yeah. So pretty valuable, this guy.
Yeah. So game 1, he killed Drago.
It's pretty cool. My Tervagon killed Drago in the Grey Knights game.
We're not on about your Tervagon, mate.
Sorry.
We're on about the Avatar now. All right, you've had your chance and you picked the Screamer Killer. So, killed Drago.
Cool.
Game 2 against the Quins. What did he do? I think he just killed loads of things.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he just killed loads of quins.
Just killed loads of quins.
Just killed loads of quins.
Just killed loads of stuff.
Game 3 against the Tau.
Yeah.
He killed 2 Riptides.
That is pretty impressive.
And the only reason why he didn't kill the 3rd Riptide was because I had to kill it with a Wrath of Cain unit. So he was stood there right next to it like, Coach, put me in. I've done this before. Get me going. And the Banshee was like, no, I'm going to scrabble away. And the Striker Scorpion was like, I'm not going to do. So I had to fight with my entire army just to get a point. But he could have easily done it. Yep. Okay, so I had to literally, tie a hand behind his back. Otherwise, he would have killed 3 Riptides.
Yeah.
Game 4, he killed 6 Flamers. He killed basically 10 Rubric Marines. Didn't even die. So he's a weapon. Game 5.
Did he not even die in that game?
No.
I guess he's immune to flames, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. You can't flicker and flame him. Yeah. He flickers back. It looks like he's flicking the V's, actually. Anyway, so Game 5. Game 5,
against Jonesy.
Yeah. He could have killed the Incarn, but he didn't. Because everything else shot it
count
instead.
For much, does it?
Well, because I had to get the Wrath of Cain thing. And then he just sat on the midfield objective all game.
Cool. Well, he got points for you.
He got me points.
Pretty important, yeah.
Yep. So Luke is said here, after playing against Mike at a tournament after only playing for a year, he still helped me out so much, like telling me what I could do. Absolute gent. And hopefully I'll be able to do the academy next year. Luke, it'd be awesome to see you on the academy, mate. Paul Bridge is said, Michael, Hydra versus Behemoth, when and where? Ooh. Paul, come to the studio. Make it happen.
We can play a game sometime, Paul. Yeah, definitely up for that.
So Milo is said. Now, Milo knows me from a long time ago when I first started playing the hobby. Oh, yeah. When I had an Eldar CAD. Do you remember that? Combined Arms Detachment in 7th
Combined
edition.
Arms Detachment.
I had actually a teal-blue Eldar army.
Right, okay.
I had 30 Dire Avengers in 6 units of 5 when they were troops, led by a Sermon. Nice. Yeah, and 2 Wave Serpents. That was pretty much my army. And Milo, he runs is a big part of the Bath club that I used to go to.
Yeah.
He said, mind blown at the progress VT has made since I first met Mr. Box back in the Pigmar days in Bath. Keep trucking bossing team. Thank you very much.
Yep, and I do have to say, it was really, really nice. Everybody that came up to us said hello at the Leicester GT, and just how much they loved our stuff, and really felt humbled as well by some of the support you guys have thrown. Yeah, I'm not used to it, and I've had people asking for pictures and selfies and things. I'm like, okay,
it's huge.
Sure.
It honestly, like,
in fact, Steve, you're not going to like this.
Wow,
but someone did say that I was the second most handsome man in 40k.
Right. So am I down to 3rd now?
I mean,
wow.
Yeah. Apparently, it wasn't even a question.
Jesus.
So I'm afraid you can't keep recruiting handsome 40k players.
Do you know what our team slogan is? On our WhatsApp group, I saw it the other day. Jake has obviously renamed it.
Yeah.
He's put the most handsome team in 40k. It's true. It's a fact. People say it.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, a massive thank you to everybody that just came up to us and said, hello. I find it really funny, right? When people go to me, all right, Steve. I'm like, have I met you before? Because I don't know. Sometimes I have and sometimes I haven't.
Well, I mean, this guy forgets so much anyway, so.
If you do come up to me, say, hi, I'm so-and-so.
Yeah.
Steve, great to meet you.
Yeah.
Because then I don't feel awkward. If, you feel like you've met someone before.
Yeah.
Or maybe I recognize you from an event, but we haven't actually spoken before. Mm-hmm. Please introduce yourself. Yeah. Because otherwise, if I'm like, oh, sorry, what's your name? And they're like, we've met before, like 6 times. I'm like, that's never happened, but in my head it might. And then I've got a fear of it now. Yeah. But anyway, massive thanks to everybody that came over, and also to say how beautiful my army was.
Yeah,
people love the Shining Spears.
We got a lot of support for the armies that we took.
Yeah,
which was really, really nice.
I've never had so many people say how cool an army is.
Yeah,
and I've never had that, even with the Blood Angels, and they're quite cool with the Assault Centurions. But that army was absolute cool factor, and also the amount of people that love my email that I put out. Thanks for all the support. Really means a lot. Really, really does. We want to try and shape the game for the better. Yeah, I would love people to look back and go, yeah, Vanguard Tactics really made a difference in 40k. And hopefully we can continually do so, whether it's, improving what the competitive scene looks like. Yeah. I'm not willing, I'm not worried about saying how I feel.
Yeah.
and about making as much change as I possibly can to the game.
Okay. How do you feel right now, Steve?
Strong.
Strong.
I feel strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But slightly miffed that I'm now third handsome.
I would feel it's the hair, Steve. You see.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's the hair.
And is it because I lost the tash?
I think that may have helped you actually.
Yeah, I think the tash really got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tash is gone now. Well, it's actually starting to grow back a bit. Need to shave. Anyway, look, gonna say goodnight. But thank you so much, everybody. Remember, hit the like button, subscribe, become a member, super chat in, get a quick late super chat in, be a real legend.
Yeah.
Give you like a few seconds to do that. Just see you next week, basically.
Yeah.
One thing we did actually, one highlight of the event though, was that you, me, Chris Anderson, and Ben Jones, and Kyle, let's not forget Kyle.
Who? Sorry?
Yeah, I know. All played Zombicide, the Wild West edition.
Yeah, so this is a board game about killing zombies that Steve absolutely is crazy about. And he takes it to every event, regardless of whether we end up playing it or not.
This is the first time we played
This
it.
is one of the first times we've actually played it.
And how good is it?
It's really good.
On a scale of 1 to good, where is it?
If any of you have played Red Dead Redemption, the cowboy game on the Xbox, there was an update for it, like a DLC or like a second game, which was about zombies, killing zombies.
Right.
And it's basically that, but a board game. And it's super cool.
Right.
And there's so many characters. And there's a dude sitting in a rocking chair.
So combine Shaun of the Dead, right, with Red Dead Redemption. Yeah?
Yeah.
You put them together and you get Zombicide, the Wild West edition.
Yes.
Let us know in the chat or in the comments if you want us to see us play on stream Zombicide. It is a cooperative game and it is a barrel of laughs. Yeah. It's great. Paul said, what happened to Pandemic? Look, Paul, Pandemic was last year, all right? The pandemic's
few years, actually.
Yeah, we've been going through that. Anyway, good night, everybody. See you next Wednesday, and we'll be playing some Zombicide, I hope. Bye.